Hi, my name is Matt Gibson. This project is named Mygunyah by the Circus. Residing on Wurundjeri land in North Fitzroy opposite Edinburgh Gardens, the property has a double-fronted width on which resides a single-fronted terrace house with an open garden flank to its west side. It faces Alfred Crescent at the front with a right-of-way and retained outbuilding at the rear. Mygunyah, or Gunyah, is the Aboriginal term for hut or shelter, and the name which appears on the parapet of the original 1880s building. By the Circus refers to my hut situated by a Victorian-era residential circus, i.e. Edinburgh Gardens. In a small way, we'd like to think that the project is an acknowledgement of both our indigenous and colonial histories, and also that of the new owners, a more newly Australian and contemporary multi-gen family. A little bit about the history of the area. In a rapid growth period from 1844, on what was previously grasslands near Merry Creek, allotment subdivisions were planned around a 50-acre public reserve now known as Edinburgh Gardens. Based on an English circus or road system surrounding a common, North Fitzroy emerged as a late Victorian commuter suburb with many houses and civic buildings under construction by the end of the boom. Built in 1888, the existing building resides within a neighbourhood of many of those late Victorian and Edwardian buildings, characterised by faced brick, pitched or gabled roofs, accentuated chimneys, and with the presence of spires and towers on many public buildings, it makes for an eclectic set of formally interesting buildings. The existing building had an interesting history. It was one of a pair of previously identical Victorian terrace houses. In 1905, only 17 years later, the neighbouring number 43 was adapted to its current ornate arts and crafts style and is now known as one of the more ornate houses in the area. The subject site, number 41, remained largely unaltered through time, however. These are the existing condition photos when we came to it. As you can see, a double-fronted width format and open rose garden to its west side. And with typical dark compartmentalised rooms of a Victorian house. These are the existing plans, housing a series of living spaces at the front and later addition at the rear. And with three bedrooms upstairs, it's effectively still a 19th century floor plan. Our client, a family of 6 with extended family, wished to celebrate the site's heritage whilst provide modifications that would add space and make functional the western garden flank, providing northern solar aspect and better connection with garden. Conceptually, the program is split up into a series of 3 pavilions. The original heritage object with accretions removed, a second pavilion interpretive of the original structure, housing additional bedrooms upstairs and kitchen downstairs, and a third ground level pavilion on the west side containing a north-facing family room that provides direct connection with front and rear gardens. The new layout is zoned in a way that keeps works to a minimum to the existing building for budget and heritage reasons. It houses traditional living rooms at the front, now used for kids' piano and study purposes. An enhanced entry sequence for the family is provided via a new pathway to the side to drop off bikes and enter via a new covered porch and interstitial space between old and new buildings. The new building enables 5 bedrooms at the upper level, extended to the north, and a dedicated family pavilion at ground level. To the south of the family pavilion, the previous garden flank is broken up into a series of individual garden rooms of differing function, providing a high degree of specificity, privacy and use. Pierced by apertures, a garden enfilade activates the street and provides a visual link between public and private, aiding a sense of theatre and engagement from Edinburgh Gardens through to the rear of the site and vice versa. The section illustrates a program of horizontal layers, sleeping on the upper level and living on the ground, straddling old and new buildings, whilst the interior architecture, of which this interior could be said to be very much architecturally led, is set about in a clear conceptual approach defined vertically and via the separation of voids and interstices between the 3 villas or pavilions of differing age and material. When moving to the side entrance, any new work is deliberately set free from the old via negative recesses and glazed connections, sensitively navigating heritage concerns and allowing light to filter through onto the textured walls of the interior. This clarity is further augmented by the location of interstitial circulation spaces between pavilions, including a floating steel stair suspended within the void between old and new, allowing the entirety of the 2-storey forms and their materials to be read freely. Interesting heritage features are exposed and celebrated rather than covered up or removed. Old plumbing penetrations, downpipe collars, peekaboo windows all add character and aid in the storytelling. The form and materials of the new pavilions are inspired by the existing building, the immediate neighbour and the heritage context, using traits of the arts and crafts, steep roof pitches, asymmetry, exaggerated chimneys and the considered use of craft. These aspects aid sculptural idiosyncrasy and provide informal familiarity. The informality is continued internally within a relaxed robustness, utilising similar historical devices in contemporary ways, such as an inglenook fireplace for the family to congregate around and an inbuilt window seat that allows for intimate moments of domestic ritual. Materials preference: natural colour, honesty and texture. Local Australian timbers within the recycled timber lath ceiling, internal brick walls with celebratory movement joints, and salvaged terracotta brick floor tiles all recall previous historic materials and patterns, conveying a relaxed yet crafted interior. Interior finishes are informed in part by the building's exterior materials, maintaining continuity of concept and spatial flow from interior through to garden, many materials blurring the threshold of inside and out. Materials are used in innovative ways, inspired by the crafted details of others. For example, feature brick window details adjacent the feature window seat that sits between inner and outer brick skins with brown to the outside, white to the inside, or the provision of a wrapped single uniform brick material from wall to roof add to the crafted and unique nature of these additions. The dark brick outer skin provides an exposed backdrop to the inglenook fireplace, which wraps around the exterior, transitioning back to inside, back to the interior and in white. Local black timber flooring provides softness and continuity between internal and external living spaces, aiding contemporary livability. Whilst there is a clear definition of the pavilion pods internally and of the internal spaces within those envelopes, vistas through and across make for simultaneous ability for connection and separation, enhancing the flexible and varied nature of the program. Within the existing building, little change was made other than cosmetic. However, these spaces provide the necessary variety and secondary spaces for a family of 6 plus a grandmother. The end result is highly customised and tailored, designed specifically as a robust backdrop to this family's life, and one which they were heavily involved in, and one that delights in the experience of materials and the story of old and new.